There's the Muslim community, the Sikh community, the Jewish community, the Hindu community, all these communities. It's not, it should be British, full stop, British. I don't want to have Muslim communities or Hindu communities or Jewish communities. I want to have British. I want to have one British community. Okay, welcome back to Fast Jet Performance then. My name is Tim Davies, and as you can see, we are back in the attack shack, dropping truth bombs on your personal battlefields, helping you to win the wars you are fighting. And someone who is helping to win wars for someone else today is Reform UK, helping to win wars for those British police officers that were beaten up at Manchester Airport by some Pakistani Muslim low IQ feral scum that had dragged itself in from whatever part of the world it was born in. I have no time for people like this. Any people attacking police officers, get in the bin as far as I'm concerned. That's because my father was a police officer for 37 years and my sister still is a police officer. Now, that said, I know the police is very different to what it used to be, and we can blame the senior police officers for this, for becoming overly politicised, but the police officers on the street are overwhelmingly good people, made up, of course, of the population they serve. Now, if you remember the incident, I did 2 videos on this, didn't I? Manchester Airport. The first one started off with the police officer stamping on the head of the Muslim guy on the ground, and everyone went against the police officer. And I said, hang on a second, that's an armed police officer. That police officer has guns. If that police officer is stamping on the head of someone on the ground, that is slightly better than shooting them in the face with a sidearm. Something serious has gone on. That's what I said in my first video. You can watch them both. I'll put them at the end of this one. Now, I can't include any film in this one because both those videos instantaneously demonetized. YouTube doesn't want the truth to get out, guys, so that's what it does. It devalues the products that us YouTubers, as it were, put out there. And then the second film came out, and I quickly did one on that as well. And I said, look what's happened here. And what's happened is it shows exactly these 2 Pakistani Muslim feral little scum idiots turning around and smashing into these police officers, kicking off, punching women, breaking the nose of a female police officer, again armed. So you've got armed police officers now, armed response officers in Manchester Airport that are getting beaten up. They've got weapons on them. Can you imagine what these police are thinking? If these guys get weapons, they're going to shoot the place up. All right, that could be on their minds, and that's why you get this response from the police. Anyway, obviously, IOPC is investigating them. Of course it is. Suspended those officers straight away, and what Reform has said is, how come you haven't charged those 2 young men? Been a long time now. How come you haven't charged them? You've suspended the police officers from duty, but you haven't charged them. Well, I'll tell you what they said, Reform said, we're going to bring a private prosecution against these 2 guys. All right, so they've gone basically to Yvette Cooper, who's the Home Secretary. I've got no time for her whatsoever. And they've said basically that unless you get the Crown Prosecution Service, CPS, to charge these 2 young boys, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to bring a private prosecution. I think that's what we need. Now, this pretty much puts Reform UK as the main opposition to the Labour Party. What are the Conservatives doing? What a disgrace to think that I ever supported the Conservative Party. Absolute disgrace. Fully in line, aren't they, with bringing as many immigrants into this country as they possibly could. And of course, if we remember correctly, what was the government more interested in? It was more interested in finding out who leaked the video. It didn't want the truth to come out. It wanted to start at the point where a police officer was shown being violent to someone, and then it could have that narrative of how we need to protect these poor communities in the UK. I hate communities in the UK. I've said this already. I hate it. There should be one community in the UK. It should be the English or the Scots or the Welsh or the Northern Irish. We can put the term British on that if you want to. I'm walking away from the term British a little bit right now because it seems to be more of an export variant that people understand. But you're English, or you're Welsh, or you're Scottish, or you're from Northern Ireland. You know, that's all from the British Isles, let's just say. So as an Englishman, yeah, I've got the Union flag over here, and I work out under that flag every day in my garage. You know, I'm proud to be of this country, and I just see it falling, crumbling away under people who I would say are treasonous. And what does that really mean to say these people are treasonous? At what point do we define this? How do we define it? And what role do the people have in that, really? And you can start posting stuff down in the comments if you want to, guys. But it's got to be something tangible that can be done, because we realize the voting now doesn't work. The voting doesn't work, does it? Doesn't work at all. So one thing I really want to talk about I really want to talk about someone called Lucy Connelly, but I can't talk about her. She gets sentenced on the 17th of October. If you know who she is, drop it in the comments, guys. She's married to a Conservative councillor, and she put out some tweets, which were pretty ill-advised tweets, after the Southport killings. Remember the young girls in Southport? The 3 young girls that were killed? I think there were 9 with life-changing injuries. These were the girls that are at the Taylor Swift concert. I did a film on that as well. Have a look at it. She put out something, because what people don't realise is that Lucy had also lost a child herself. Now, people like Lucy were instantly charged, weren't they? Instantly charged. She's still held. She was never released. She's instantly charged and held. Like, she's a threat, is she? She's not a threat at all. What she wrote was a bit stupid, absolutely. We all understand that. But she came from a place of pain. She was angry. She was hurt when she saw those 3 girls killed, and she was very upset. And a lot of people went to jail for social media posts. These low IQ Pakistani Muslim inbred absolute losers, these violent men that attack police officers, they weren't even charged. They've been out running around the streets the whole time. What is going on? It's intentional, isn't it? We all know it's intentional because they're trying to break us down as British people, as English people, Scottish, whatever it might be. They're trying to break us down. They're trying to reduce anything we have, like the ownership of family, anything else. They're trying to just break. They're doing this stuff on purpose. How else do we go after this? It's 2-tier policing in its absolute finest. Don't look at the police officer on the street, by the way, as the reason for this. As I've said before, don't look at that young police officer who's just trying to find their way. It's a difficult thing. I think I can't remember the thing now, but have a look at how many police officers have more than 5 years experience. It's very, very few. There's not many, all right, not many at all. So we're relying on the old and bold police officers to teach these. And of course, there's a lot of these old and bold police officers. They're not supported. That's the problem. They're not supported by their seniors. They're not supported. The IOPC looks at them, it suspends them, it throws them out. You know what I mean? We've just seen the 2 police officers reinstated after a very long investigation after they pulled over those 2 athletes who were grifting for the victimhood. And when we talk about the victimhood, I did a last film on victimhood, that YouTube, again, just restricted massively. And today it wrote to me and said, oh yeah, no, the video's all right. 3 or 4 days after I released it. So it's never going to go anywhere now. It's stuck at like 4,000 views. We put effort into this, guys, and YouTube obviously represses that. I just want you to have a think about that. Like, why do we need to bring civil prosecutions against people that beat up our police officers? Police officers, by the way, who are husbands and wives, mothers and fathers. They are daughters, they are sons of all British people. We know that. We know that. So when we have a go at the police, and I don't personally because I've got police in the family, but when people talk about police being whatever, that kind of stuff, who's going to come and help you out? They're just acting under orders from senior authority, massively misplaced senior authority. All right, we know that. We know it's all a massive scam. All right, so how are we going to help and support our police? Look, I would normally talk about standards, so I'll just leave you with this, about cleaning up your local area. All right, that's what we should be doing. That, picking up litter, painting fences, anything, walk around your local area. This is the problem, unfortunately. There's no community anymore. There used to be, the British community, British people. There's not anymore. There's the Muslim community, the Sikh community, the Jewish community, the Hindu community, all these communities. It should be British, full stop, British. I don't want to have Muslim communities or Hindu communities or Jewish communities. I want to have British. I want to have one British community. That's what I want. I want that. I want that. That's all I want. And that's all we should want. And when the government talks about communities, we must protect the Muslim community. No, not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. No. I do not want 500 mosques built across London. I don't want it. I think Luton has something like 80 mosques. What's going on there? Do you think if I did that, if I went to a Muslim country, I'd be able to build churches and stuff? No. Guys, look, we're just getting ourselves worked up over this. We just have to stand firm. We have to say this is not acceptable. What's happening to these police officers from these low IQ Pakistani Muslim idiots, violent young men who have smashed up people that were prepared to guard you and your family when you were going on holiday with their lives, by the way. These police officers would have given their lives for you. They would have given their lives. They would have given their lives for these Pakistani men as well and their family. Of course they would. That's what the British police do. Unfortunately, these people are now without jobs. They're on suspension whilst they're being investigated, whilst they're being dragged. The whole names are being dragged through the mud. It's absolutely ludicrous. Guys, I'm very interested in your comments. I am, because I look at the comments now. One thing I notice in the comments is that people are interested in community. They're interested in togetherness, and they're very interested in standards. Now, remember, I was a standards officer in the Air Force. I'm actually speaking to the Air Force tomorrow because they're asking me to rejoin. It's not something I'm that interested in for many reasons. I'll do a video on it. But, I do believe that there is an issue with standards in life in general. And that's why I talk about it. I've gone over. Look, 10 minutes. What's going on? I really appreciate your comments. And I do appreciate you watching these videos. I'll put these other 2 videos up here. Boo-boo! Have a watch of those if you want to, guys. I really appreciate your time. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.